This is the yew that was growing by the road, so it was tortured for decades by the maintenance. But luckily it still kept one of the trunks. This was already dead when we found it and collected it, and then it was just the bare trunk with very little green, but it regained the power slowly. I think that the first work, it's obvious that the tree is leaning, so we will try to enhance the flow to the right. I think it would be counterproductive to lift the tree up, I think. So first we will clean the tree, work the deadwood, and see the structure then. Yeah, but it will be going to the right side significantly, I think.
Okay. Now, of course you can lean it up. However, if you lean it up, then this nebari will be very awkward. I mean, you cannot put it then in a regular pot. Well, you could put it on one of these modern artificial stones, but still it would look a bit awkward. So the nebari decides the position of that tree. Okay, and then it happens to lean to the right very strongly. Let's first sort out what's really, really good. That's the nebari. I mean, that's excellent, excellent. Everything else now has to be worked according to that nebari. You do some deadwood there, of course, strong deadwood, but it must look like nature did it and not like you carved it. Not so easy. Same thing here. The question is really, does it not lean too much? If you step away, you will see what I'm saying. This wonderful branch that everybody is seeing, oh, this is the leading branch. How about taking that off? Then the tree would not lean as much anymore, and we'd still have this other branch here, and that maybe you gin this. Huh? So, but I'm not telling you what to do. I'm only playing a bit to say, this is what I see. Or do you see what I can do with it before it breaks? I could still go a lot more. Maybe all of a sudden this becomes a cascade. Nothing wrong with that. Then this branch is very important. But you will always forever have the problem that from here to here it's very straight. A Taxus was almost impossible to really bend that well. So you have to live with that straight line. Or you cut it off and gin it. And then when ginning it, you can do some sort of movement in there, just carve it somehow. Okay. Anyway, so why do I concentrate on this? Because at the moment, this is a dominating branch. Now, you have to sort this out first, what exactly what it, and the rest then is not so difficult anymore. The question is really what to take from the crown, but there's endless possibilities. So there's 50 ways of making a crown here. Everything is okay. The question is, what do we do with this here? Do we totally take it off? No. Or do we have to make a little branch here? Or do we make a little tree here? Okay. Maybe I think we should fill this somehow, but it's clear that this is leaning over here, and this is a dominating side, but there's something here. Otherwise, this is really a cascade falling off, and then it's all of a sudden it's visible that this from here to here is rather straight anyway. So this is very typical for a naturally grown Taxus, that it does not move like we really want it to. It's straight, 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 in big blocks which have almost no taper. That's how these trees are, and you have to make sure that this is not so visible. So the trick is to find the right crown. There's many ones. What is right? Whatever you decide is right, because it doesn't really matter much. And you have to diminish the optical weight by 80%, or 85%. 85% of that green will be gone. And then you will be surprised what a mighty tree that is. It looks good now, but it doesn't look mighty. But it can be overwhelming. Wow! So this is the effect. It's always in bonsai that people just start styling because they have learned how to style, but they have no really thought through what exactly do I want in the end. Oh, they're saying, I want this wonderful tree. No, you want somebody to stand in front of that tree and do something. What exactly should this person do? This person, well, what kind of questions? Well, I can tell you. A person can do many things. A person can say, oh, this is nice. Is that what you want? Not with this tree. or the person can say, boy, I cannot see any fault. This person followed all the rules. Good one. Okay, possible. Okay. Or, oh, this looks just like John Naka drew it. Or, oh, this has a lot of Deadwood. Did Kimura do that? Okay. Okay. Or, whoa, you see the wonderful branches and everything is linear. Oh, did Mauro Stenberger do that? Okay. So this, or should the tree, somebody stand in front of this and say, oh, you see, nature does its very best. This is, where did you find that tree? They think you found it like that. Good job. Or somebody standing in front of it, holy cow, whoa, this is throwing me off my feet. Whoa, this is perfect. And this is, personally, I want that on most of my trees. So this is why my trees very often look dramatic. But I'm not telling you to do that. Not copy me. You have to find something. But as you see, it's pretty complex. There's many, many ways of looking at bonsai. And you think it's clear. No, and beginners are being taught that there's one way of looking at bonsai. No, there's millions of ways. Okay, so whatever you like, I wish you good luck, and I look forward to see the results. Thank you.
Last year, I want to show you. Yeah, but it's doing very well. I'm happy to see that. Lukas, help me.
Nechat, víš to, ty spotky zase. Tak počkej. Ale no, já bych radši nechujpil tady ocet, ať se nebrnkne tady. We made the first styling of this massive yew. There were many options discussed, and in fact we also styled the tree to look good from many fronts. We stick to this front as the best one. There is more foliage left on purpose for health reasons, so it's not super detailed styled. And there are some branches that will be cut off for sure in next years. Here on the top part there is a straight section which is kind of fault, but first it can be hidden a bit, or we can remake it in the future from some smaller branch which can sprout from here. The Deadwood work was quite intense. We spent almost a day on the tree, and for sure it will be refined more in the future, but for now it can weather.
Okay. One has to understand that there's a difference between what we do in the Masterclass and what is a normal bonsai demonstration. The demonstration is a show that hopefully has a happy end with a wonderful looking tree and some master standing there and being the hero. That's basically what it's all about. And it's not really about teaching you. You may learn something, but they very often don't even try to teach you. They just show how good they are and how you could be done. So they really finish a tree as far as possible, even if it's not necessary, or even if it's sometimes not even good for the tree, but it's good for the photograph. That's a show. I'm guilty of that. I've done these things, and they will continue to be done. But people overestimate them, because then they think, oh, I've watched many of these, now I know how to do bonsai. No, you know how a show is done. Okay, so we do bonsai, and we do something that looks kind of okay in the end, but that's not, it could look much better. Now, you could spend another day detail wiring these, okay, and then it would look very nice. It's a waste of time, because most of these will be cut off anyway in a couple of years. So we don't spend effort and time just for this to be as beautiful as possible at this moment. The future, in 10, 15, 20 years, this is what counts. Now we have this big problem here, that we have this very straight thing. Was just explained. At the moment, that's what it is. But in the next few years, there will be some new growth, and we will build a new crown. We have this strange little thing here. You see, here is a branch that was over here, and we wanted to bring it very close to this trunk, and then build a crown here. Now we have a part of this we bent over here, and this looks like a strange. Why that? Because that's going to be cut off. It's a sacrifice branch. Why in the hell would you want a sacrifice branch? Well, with rather great force, we pulled this over here. You know, Taxus is a very tough wood. It's not easy to bend them. We pull him over here, and we want him to stay here. Now, how do we manage a branch to stay in a position which is radically different from how it was before? We let it grow as much as possible. The more green, the better, because every piece of green creates energy, and the energy flows down and builds cells, and by building more and more cells, the better, as many as possible, and then you take the wire off and it stays. So this is just there for building new cells, and that will be totally cut off. However, if that were a show, I would not cut it off, because that looks silly. You see the difference. So anyway, the Deadwood was done, and that's very important to do this right now, in the beginning, very first time, because you will never ever again have the advantage of freely hacking here, or even putting fire or something like that. Most people unfortunately do the opposite. They have a piece of log here which they know should be carved, but they first do the crown because they know how to do a crown, and it will look good right away. And they say, this I will do later. Now, first of all, later means never. They will not do it in the next 5 years. And then the thing is, in 5 years, when everything is grown, it's much more difficult to hack around here. And certainly you cannot put fire to it, because fire is very important to burn away the tracks of humans, and to sort of petrify this wood. Have you ever understood that in a forest where there was a fire, 200 years later you still find the black logs, because they don't rot? Aha! So if you want this to not rot, you put fire in it, and it sort of almost petrifies. So it stays at least for 50 years. That's good enough for me, for 50 years. So anyway, this is a remarkable tree because of a remarkable start. This is wonderful. This is just great. You see, wow, this is super. And this continues. It's a bit straight here, but this is why we want to look at it for a bit from the side. And we will have to have some green over here. But in the end, this is the centerpiece. This is a focal point. And this will sort of surround by something which looks like a good crown. So you see, the crown is there more or less to show the real thing. In bonsai styling, many people misunderstand that the fact that we work on a crown for hours and hours. For most of the time we work on the crown. So they think it's all about the crown. No, it's not about the crown. The crown is there for something else, for the trunk, for this view. And this you have to understand, that the crown is secondary. First comes the trunk. Okay, what else can we discuss here? Is there any other points you want to make here?
well, also the second front, if we rotate.
Can we rotate this?
Yeah, I will rotate the
You need an engineer to rotate this. Yeah.
Okay. Even more, I
Yes.
think. Something like this, yeah.
Yeah.
From this side, we lose the Deadwood feature, but you can see much better the movement of the live veins, and with some adjustments over here, it can be also a good front. Yeah.
So this, for some people, may look disappointing, but I tell you, this is real life. This is bonsai. This is what you do when you really do bonsai for over a long period of time. This, you start with a log. But the log only has a good base. That's about all you have. And then you add and add things, and that will take many, many years before this looks really good. You're young. I would not do this anymore, but you will see that.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much.